Hey guys, it's Dr. Matt. I finally decided to make this video public. It's a video on how I correct the geometry on razors. It's based on my bevel setting video and the tap and wobble test. For some of you who have asked me in the past, I've sent you a link. It was a link to my Dropbox, and I made a bootleg version of this video. And to be honest with you, I've had some anxiety about making this public because it involves putting honeware on a razor, and to some people that is really taboo. You know, when I would send the link to people, I would say to them, you know, whatever you do, don't forward this link, don't share it with anyone. And everyone asked me, well, why not? And I said, well, because, you know, not everyone agrees with this. You know, I've just discussing it in my bevel setting video, I've caught a rash of shit for this stuff. So, you know, I really didn't want to do it, but my bevel setting video, and where I actually discuss this, the tap and wobble test in squaring up the razor and in having perfect geometry, it's one of my most popular videos. And honestly, I get letters, emails on it almost every day asking me about it, how I do it. And I've noticed that the thumbs up ratio on it is way up above the thumbs down. So most people out there want to know how to do it, and I've been doing this. I started about 3 years ago trying to get this down, and it took me a while to do it. But for the last 2 years, when people would send me their razors, you know, this is what I would do. So, you know, that's what this video, and actually it's going to be a series of about 5 or 6 videos, but really the first one is going to really be how I do it. All the other videos are going to be associated with it. There's two schools of thought on this as far as putting honeware. I mean, there's people that fall into the category that no matter what, you never put honeware on a razor. Never, ever, ever. It's taboo. You know, always tape it. It's a sin to put honeware on these, especially the vintage razors, you know, because these things have history to them, and then you're just taking and grinding them down. And I guess I can respect people who think that way. My objective here is to get the razor to perform to absolutely the best way that it can. There are people, when I discuss my tap and wobble test and bevel setting video, there's people that fundamentally disagree with the premise of that test. They'll say, well, you know, the wobble doesn't mean anything. If you're good enough, I must not be good enough. If you're good enough, you can take and, you know, you could roll through that warp in the razor. You can take and, you know, you can roll the razor, you twist your wrist, you raise your arm, you stand on your head, all kinds of other things. You put tape here, you put an extra layer here, you tape the tip. All of those things to work around the warp on the razor. All of those things will work. But it's still not going to be a perfect geometry on the razor. And the only way to really get that razor to perform to 100% of its potential is to have and to create that perfect geometric shape, like I talked about on the bevel setting video. You know, if you take a razor, say this is the razor, and that thing is twisted like this, and then some of them even bow like that, you take that blue edge there, how far do you, I mean, how good do you really think that that can be, regardless of what you do? And don't get me wrong, you can shave with the razors if you do all of those things in the wrist gymnastics and the tape and all of that stuff. But what I have found is the way to get them to perform to their top potential is to straighten out that geometry. People that reject the premise of that test and they say that the wobble doesn't matter, I don't even know what to say to that. I can't argue with it. If they reject that, that's, you know, I almost feel like some of these guys that were giving me a hard time or give me a hard time, it's almost like I'm arguing with someone from the Flat Earth Society. What do you say? So we're going to go on with this for the 98% of you other guys that are interested in how I do this and you want to get the most out of your razor. Kick back, watch the whole thing, enjoy, and I'll be back after the second video. This honing part's gonna be 2 videos. At the end of the second video, I'll be back and we'll discuss a little bit more. All right, here we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix the geometry on this razor. This is from a customer who sent it to me. It's a Puma. It's a Puma Inox. It's a German steel. It's a wonderful razor. The problem is that it doesn't shave well. He told me that he's tried to hone it. It just can't get it to come around. The reason being is that this thing has a really bad warp to it. The warp comes from the production, but as I lay it on the piece of granite, I'm going to take the stabilizer off. As we do the tap and wobble, that's a pretty bad wobble to it. Now, as I turn it over, wobble here's a little different. It's more of a roll. If you can see this heel come up off the ground or off the granite. And that's why it won't shave well. I know that there's people that say that, the wobble doesn't really matter. You can just take it on the stone and you can roll it with the warp and you can get it to the edge. You can do that. But it's still just not going to shave as well. All right? So let's bring it over here. And I'll show you how I do this. But first, I'm going to start on my diamond plates. But first, the wobble, all of the problem is in the spine here. I said in my bevel setting video about 90%, maybe even more. So what I do is I'm going to fix the spine, but to do that, I'm going to tape the edge first, reverse tape of what most people do. I'm going to tape the edge because we don't need to wear down the edge as we're working on the spine. I just fold it over. There we go. Now the worst side is the side with the emblem on it there. Okay, so I'm going to start with my 400 diamond plate. And if hone wear bothers you, if it offends you, don't watch. And what I do is I'm taking it back and forth, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep pressure down here on the heel. I don't know if you can see, but the wear is about 2/3 of the way. I maybe should have used a marker for that, but now you can see the tape, it's eating through on the tape on the corner there. So what I'm going to do, actually, I can see now that that's all the way across. What I want to do here is test it on the... Okay, so now that wobble is out of there. So I'm just going to leave it like that. Let's go to the other side. Again, I'm keeping pressure down on this end on the heel. This side wasn't as bad. I can see that that's almost all the way across.
would not suggest that you do this on your first few razors. It is an advanced technique, not because it's harder, but once you remove metal, you can't put it back. All right, let's test this side on the wobble. Still a little bit left. There. It's definitely coming more down off the heel end on the spine. So that side's very good. Now you can see it's starting to eat through here as well. So now I will peel the tape. Now we'll do them together. The edge and the spine. This will blend them together. What I'm doing here is I'm looking at the edge, and I want to make sure that we hit all the way across. And there's still just a little on the heel that needs fixing. There we go. Now I can see it's hitting all the way across there. You can see there was a good amount from the spine right down here on this end. Alright, that dude is flat as shit right now. No problem there. Now let's blend the other side. Oh yeah. It's a little on the toe. Perfect. All the way across. Okay, so that's it on the 400. Now what I want to do, take it to the 1200 to smooth out the .400 marks. Oh yeah, very nice. Perfect. So we've come all the way across on the spine, all the way across on the edge, on both sides. So we checked the wobble test. The geometry is perfect on this now. There's no wobble left. There is uneven wear, but that's because there are high spots at certain points within the spine, and that's been removed. Okay, so this thing is perfectly square, as I say, as I like to say. So now what I'm going to do is further clean that up with my Chaucera. That's a 140 plate, by the way. And this is going to smooth out the 1200 marks. It's actually going to convert the diamond marks to a conventional stone. And you can see, I don't know if you can see, there's little shreds of metal on the edge where that's coming together. Finish this guy off. All right. I don't know if you can see, down in the back there's almost some of the steel that's feathered. That'll come off as we refine it a little bit more, right? There. Oh yeah. There it is. There's little metal shavings right on the stone. Okay, so now what I want to do is test. Beautiful. Let's test it back there. Nice. All the way through. There, there, there. Nice. So now this bevel is set, what I like to call a bevel set, for the geometry's been corrected. Now this thing is perfect. So at this point, all I need to do is take it through the progression and we're good to go.